Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boxing fans around the world, back after a pretty exciting evening of boxing. We had some pretty good events. Of course, Pedraza Ramirez was what we expected it to be. We saw that we've already kind of answered the questions on both guys. We didn't expect to see too much more unanswered from either guy. I'm not going to say that they're past prime or washed or any of this because they're still game. Just I expected I wouldn't be too excited about the fight, and I wasn't. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that one. The highlight on this one, folks, was Chocolatito getting his win, a very dominant decision win over Julio Cesar Martinez. And I'm going to call this, and I'm going to get heat, as they say in the business, boxing, the wrestling business, heat. I just think there's something off. Like this was, if you go back to my prediction, I said that Martinez missing weight usually portends that there's going to be a problem. I expected that Martinez was going to have some problems once I saw he missed weight. He was able to make weight. They did the same day, and he was able to make the weight, but there was a problem in him making the weight and getting to that point, and I suspected he was going to have some issues because usually when fighters struggle to make the weight, especially on the same day, it doesn't turn out well, and we saw that. We saw that Chocolatito, really Martinez didn't have a lot of answers. Martinez was there. He was game. He was there in the fight from bell to bell. But it was clear that he was just being outclassed, and we can't know what part of this weight issue was causing this. A lot of people chimed and said that Chocolatito looked brilliant. He's back. He's this, that, and the other. I didn't see that. It's not to say that Chocolatito was not superior. He was, and he didn't. It wasn't that he didn't look top tier. He did. I'm saying that Martinez, with the weight issue, as the fight went on, it seemed like he had good moments early on, and then he either gassed or something went weird because the energy just kind of drained, and then apparently he had some hand problems, and he's had hand problems before. He was still fighting, but it seemed like he just lost steam. Now, whether that was motivation or physical, we don't know this. We don't know what was causing it. We know that Martinez seems like he was fighting really hard to get Choco out of there. I think he might have assumed, and his team might have assumed, that they could have done what Rungvisai did to Chocolatito as far as putting him on his back, Amir Khan style. Because it seemed like his style was trying to get Chocolatito get that one shot, like they might have suspected Chocolatito has a glass chin. I don't think Chocolatito has a glass chin. I think that was a bad strategy. If that was the plan, which it looked like it was, but if that was the plan, he was already going to lose the moment he stepped in that ring. Because I think just Rungvisai is a different level of fighter, where he's one of the only ones that could have done that to Chocolatito. That's my theory. Ultimately, I saw that Martinez was there, and he should be applauded for being the warrior that he is, and the attempt and the just getting in there and not quitting and just fighting. But Chocolatito was just too much. So as the fight goes on, Chocolatito's way superior. It's clear in class. But remember, Chocolatito was known as kind of this knockout artist before he met Rungvisai. He wasn't able to get Martinez out of there. Now, of course, Martinez was coming down. He was a bigger fighter that could have played a factor in that. But I do think, all right, Choco, dude, you were going to doing knockouts and getting stoppages. And yes, when you fought guys like Estrada and Rungvisai at the top level and Quadras, you weren't able to stop them or knock them out. You actually got knocked out at the top level. But this Martinez was never at the top level at Superfly. So I'm just saying that to me, it feels like something was off slightly with Chocolatito, as I called out in the preview, that he's kind of slipped a little bit. I wouldn't say he's like steep decline. He's not done. He's still in it, but I would keep him far the hell away from Srisaket Sor Rungvisai. That's what I saw. Far as Estrada, I think Choco might have some success with Estrada just because Estrada seems like he's a little bit declining too. So you're dealing with two potential declines. I think when we start seeing Estrada, when he comes back, because I think he had COVID, but he was out, and when he comes back and he gets to have a fight, we'll get to see where he's at. Rungvisai, when he comes back, he definitely had COVID. When he comes back, I want to see him in there and see where he's at because he's had some slippage performances. I just, on what I saw of Chocolatito, I would keep him the hell away from Srisaket Sor Rungvisai because I think he gets knocked out again, my opinion. That's not to take away from Choco. Choco did what he needed to do against this guy. That's so all you guys who are going to naysay it and say I'm hating on the dude. I'm not hating on the dude. But again, I compare the fighter against their past performances. If I compare this performance against his past performances at the lower tier, I'm disappointed because Choco, I felt, should have gotten a stoppage. I felt like he should have been able to take this guy out because the weight issue, number one. Number two, Martinez was not at that same level, and he doesn't have experience at the top level like in this class with these four. So I felt like Choco should have easily been able to get him out of there because of Choco's level. It's not to dismiss Martinez. It's Choco's level and the perception of his level. Remember, this is a guy Floyd Mayweather once called the pound-for-pound king because he was so hyped. Once he gets sparked out by Rungvisai, all of a sudden, the game changes. In place like NSB, you're saying, well, it's Martinez. At the end of the day, Choco was pushed as this number one pound for pound, just like Crawford. He was pushed as this top guy. He was pushed as this unstoppable beast. He met his maker in Rungvisai, got laid out Amir Khan style. That doesn't mean he's not still in it. I think he should still be in it. Maybe he's just pulling his punches a little bit and he's not taking the risks to avoid getting knocked out. That's my point. I don't think Martinez was ever at a point where he could have gotten a knockout against Chocolatito based on the weight and the strategy of the fight. I just felt like Choco should have gotten him out of there. That's how I feel about it. All kudos to Choco for what he got done and his performance. 100%. I didn't see what everybody else seems to see. It was a great performance. It almost reminded me, right, of Lomachenko and Comey in a way, because it's like Lomachenko, now at least here, Choco didn't sit there staring at his opponent and all that crap like Loma did. But I'm saying, I'm expecting you to get this guy out of there. You should be able to get him the heck out of there, because if your level is what everybody says it is, you should be able to get him out of there. So all credit to Chocolatito. All credit 100%. I'm saying if he is what everybody says he is, you should be able to stop or knock out guys like Martinez. That's all I'm saying to you. Chocolatito was there and he was in control. If you're that much control, you should be able to get this guy out of there. Keep him the hell away from Srisaket Sor Rungvisai. Please, keep him the hell away from it. Now, in the bigger picture of this whole situation, I want to see these guys get back in there. Cuadras, he had that loss and that was unfortunate. But I want to see Rungvisai back so we can assess where he's at. I want to see Estrada back so we can see where he's at. Because we still have these top guys. We didn't get Martinez added to the upper class, but we do have Bam Rodriguez. He's there. Chatter is about now having Bam Rodriguez face Rungvisai. That would actually be a very good fight. I would lean towards Rungvisai just because Rungvisai, if he goes back to eating grilled rats and training in a jungle like the old days and get the hell away from Freddie Roach, Rungvisai easily sparks out Rodriguez, and that would take out another eye test fighter. That's not to dismiss Rodriguez, and I want to make sure you're clear because the naysayers are going to come deep. I'm judging the fighter as I see them and as their perception. This guy, Rungvisai, knocked out cold everybody's eye test pound for pound in Chocolatito, period. He beat him in the decision, dropped him in the first fight, beat him by decision, and then the second won every round and left him flat on his back. I'm sorry. I have Rungvisai up there. He's up there. The only reason he lost to Estrada in the second fight is because for some stupid reason, he went away from southpaw, which he was winning every round when he was southpaw. I got Rungvisai up there. I think Estrada's a great fighter. I don't think he's better than Rungvisai. I think Rungvisai fought stupid. He shouldn't have lost against Estrada. He should have 2 wins against Estrada and 2 wins against Chocolatito. That's what frustrates me. And then he should have an avenged win against Cuadras. That's how high I rate Rungvisai in these 4. Now, what I think doesn't matter until we see them all back in the ring to get these rubber matches all signed, sealed, and delivered. I think COVID played a big factor in why we have it, but I'm not going to say Choco is right back at the top because he failed to get rid of a guy that's essentially B-level compared to him. It's not to dismiss Martinez in of himself. It is compared to Chocolatito. Martinez is a B-level fighter. That's all I said. And I said that if he comes in strong, solid, he'll be a threat, and we'll get to test both guys and see where they stand. What do we learn? We learned that Martinez struggled to make the weight. We don't know how that affected him. We learned that Martinez had some hand injuries. We don't know how that affected him. We saw that Chocolatito was at the top of his game, but look at who he's against. He couldn't have pulled that off against Rungvisai. He'd got knocked out again. We know that. So I'm not dismissing Choco. I'm saying that we have to look at the opponent and we have to gauge them based on the opponent. If he's in there against an A-level fighter and he does that performance, I'll give him all the credit in the world. If we get to see Chocolatito and the rubber match against Estrada and he could pull that against Estrada and completely dominate him, I'll give Choco all the credit in the world because currently I rate Estrada slightly higher than Chocolatito. However, if Estrada goes in there and outboxes him like he did Rungvisai in the rematch, I can't give Choco, we have to calm down, pump the brakes on the pound-for-pound conversation. That's all. Ultimately, I love all four guys, even Cuadras, even in loss. I love all four guys. Why? Because they fought each other. At this weight class, they're fighting each other. They're going in there and they're actually fighting each other. They're making the fights happen. You really don't have an A side in any of this, if you think about it. None of them are really an A side because they all have this level to them. Rungvisai sparks out Chocolatito. Chocolatito has wins over Estrada. Cuadras has wins. Like, it's all of them are just fighting each other and there's no real A side. It's the four kings all over again. It's what we should have had at welterweight and we didn't. That's why I'm so excited to talk about them as a class and this fight. And I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm saying that it's who you were in the ring with. When Rungvisai first came back, this is after he took the loss to Estrada, and he first came back and he went the dissance with that guy. I had the same criticism against Rungvisai. He felt like he was fighting less than himself. And I purposely blamed it on he didn't eat grill rat anymore. He wasn't training in the jungle. He was in a clean gym. He's taking shots with Freddie Roach. That's already a death knell because we learned that from, what was that guy's name? Zhao Shiming. So it's like Rocky, right? You know, he became civilized, kid. I don't want to see that. I want to see the grit and the hunger that you once had. Choco showed me that at least some of that's back. I want to see him get it all back. This is somewhat of a get back. He said he's been on a streak, but I'm saying in getting back to the upper echelon, this is kind of a get back. Is a good get back. It will put eyes on him. Stylistically, he has eyes now to sell these fights and get them made. Now we need to see the same from the other kings in here. We learned something about Cuadras. I still think he's upper level. I just think ultimately the late replace threw him off. So we didn't really solve that. I want to see that. I want to see Estrada back. I want to see Rungvisai back. And then let's get these guys back in there. We got rubber matches still to be made. And we'll really know. We'll really know. I want Choco to get the chance to... I don't want to see him in the Rungvisai. Rungvisai puts him to sleep. I do want to see Choco against Estrada. I want to see that rubber match. Let's solve it. Let's get it done. Let's find out who then moves on. Then that person should fight Rungvisai, and then we'll solve that mystery. Because to me, there's no mystery between Choco and Rungvisai at all. Rungvisai's the better fighter. He's the better boxer. Period, point blank. Choco's got no answer. Sometimes you just meet that guy. It's like Roy Jones and Tarver. Sometimes you just meet that guy that's got your number. Rungvisai's got Choco's number. I don't want to see that fight. I don't want to see Choco hurt. But I do want to see Choco and Estrada because that one's kind of a toss-up at this point, and that'll solve who's really at the upper echelon. Because if Estrada is able to go in there and outbox Choco, which we expect he shouldn't, but if he does, now we know, okay, here's our list of four kings. Rungvisai at the top, Estrada second, Choco third, and Cuadras fourth, and there's nothing wrong with that because you're still at the top four. Even in the overall picture of boxing, you guys have nothing to be ashamed of because you all fought each other. And that's what we want to see. So very exciting outcome, gets to solve some questions. We now need to see the rest of the fights, which are scheduled now that these guys are coming back from COVID. Probably sometime I would guess in May is my theory. Hopefully April, because April's hot. We got a lot of stuff going on there. But yeah, I think if you're a boxing fan, you should celebrate this weight class, flyweight and super flyweight, more than any other weight class because they're doing what no other weight class has been doing, and they've consistently been doing it when you've got top guys all fighting each other. Lightweight started to do it, and then we've kind of tailed off. And hopefully they get back there now that CM Punk Cambosis is at the top of the game, but who knows there. That's all I got for you there, Chocolatito. Kudos to you for getting it done against a very game Martinez. I just want to see more because I'm still not sure where Chocolatito's head's at, and I can't say what really happened with Martinez and what he was affected by with the weight and everything else.